that relief, KP, that sigh, that is 4 years coming off the shoulders right there. A long time coming. You could see. I mean, he dropped 100 pounds in that moment right there.
Yeah, he did. I think what's interesting though is Rickie's game has been back for what, 6 months, 3 months. Whatever. And I kind of wrote this afterwards. It's like, hey, Rickie was back like a while ago. This was just the official declaration of it, right? It was the pronouncement of Rickie's back. But like, that's not nothing, as you can see from that clip. For him, he knows that he won't have to answer more questions about it and talk about not winning and all these different things. But I think it is important to kind of point out something that you and I have been talking about, and most people that are like dialed in day to day have been talking about, of like Rickie's been playing at this clip for quite a while now.
Yeah, I don't want to me, this is not a capper, right?
No.
This might, closes the loop or whatever on victories, but the way that this sets up moving forward, Rickie's going to go to the Scottish where he's had a lot of success. He's going to go to the Open Championship. That link style of golf is a creative style of golf that he's played well at. He is setting himself up. He's now 8th in the FedEx Cup standings. He is making probably a deep run into the playoffs. And oh, by the way, I think he has just punched his ticket to be on the American Ryder Cup team. So there's a second act coming, right? This is not it. This is not like the one capper on all this. I expect Rickie to continue to play well and be relevant for at least the next 2 months.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're reading my mind. That's exactly what I wrote of like, hey, this actually sets him up for, guess who finished second at the 2014 Open Championship at Hoylake? Rickie Fowler. Guess who is in a great position going into the playoffs? Rickie Fowler. Guess who's going to be on the, not like probably, what did you say? Probably punched his ticket?
I said I believe he has just punched his ticket.
Okay, so I think there's 2 spots that are filled and 10 that are open. The 2 that are filled are Scheffler and Fowler, and the other 10 are kind of open. I'm taking it too far, but that's how I feel right now.
I mean, there are a lot of scenarios in which the next couple of months play out, and I don't see a lot of them in which that do not include Rickie Fowler on this Ryder Cup team.
Unless you'd have to almost have like Sahith and Cam Young and Sam Burns win, like,
and they're not even then. They're not going to play it. It would also require Zalatoris coming back earlier than expecting and being like, "Yeah, I'm good to go for the Ryder Cup."
Zalatoris wins the Open, just something outrageous, right? So yes, like we're on the same page there of, and speaking of the Open, is there how many guys are playing better than Rory and Rickie right now?
I mean, if you look at form, they're just straight statistically, they're probably 2 of the hottest 5 guys in the world. Rickie coming into this week was by far the hottest guy. I mean, he'd been the best player in 2023. He's been playing over his baseline, which is all good stuff.
He'd been the best player in the world in 2023.
I think it was in this field, but
okay, yeah.
But like he was gaining 1.8 strokes per round. That's probably top 5. You know what I mean? I'll rerun the numbers here, but it's I mean, just straight stats form. Those are 2 of the 5 best players in the world, right? In this moment.
Yeah, which is. And I think it's interesting because we deal on 2 different tracks here with some of these guys, right? Where with Rickie or with any of these guys, you and I are in the weeds day to day, and so we're kind of seeing stuff that maybe people like our dads are not seeing for another month or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So the stuff we've been hollering about with Rickie is coming to fruition for the person who watches PGA Tour golf on Sundays, maybe not every week, but every once in a while. They're like, "Oh, Rickie." And you're like, listen to the First Cut podcast, right? And so it's interesting when we sort of talk about some of this stuff because I think I think players feel that, right? Like they feel what you and I are saying day to day, but then they also feel the weight of expectation of the general public, which is the 2 kids that are watching Fowler on Sunday and my dad who's, checking in from time to time on Fowler. They know that those people know, or they know that those people don't really believe they're back until they win. And so they feel that expectation, I think, which is not nothing. And I think something that gets sort of conveyed via some of the questions they get asked in press conferences and stuff.
Unless your name is Colin Morikawa and Adam Hadwin, which even Adam Hadwin was pretty happy for Rickie. This is going to be like by far the most popular win in a long time amongst both peers, fans, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, short of what could like Rickie winning the U.S. Open would have topped it. Rickie,
massive, yes.
Rickie could have topped himself, I guess.
I think the most recent one, Phil at Kiowa, was like, I got texts from people that don't follow golf and were like, I'm happy about this. And like, that he was the immensely popular. That was an immensely popular moment. Maybe not as much amongst his peers, but like fan wise.
Yeah, I think majors are always a different level.
Yeah.
Rickie's in an interesting space because he is pretty beloved across the board for good reason. And when you compare him, like when I was thinking about this, Rick, I was thinking about this time 15 months ago, he was like, yeah, I haven't really made up my mind on live yet. And you're like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Right. I don't know that anybody saw that coming. So
I think a lot of people assumed he was going. I mean, he hadn't been playing well. He was in line for a massive payday. I think there would have been a lot of, yeah, that makes sense if Rickie went.
And I think Rickie he's a little insulated from some of the stuff that somebody like Rory hears, or somebody like even a Homa who's been more outspoken about a variety of things. Rickie doesn't say anything ever that's controversial, right? And there is a benefit to that in the public square, in the public arena, in the arena of public opinion, right? And I think we're seeing him reap some of the rewards from that. Is that the way that I would necessarily go about things? Probably not, but I think there's an incentive to not really say anything that's super controversial. Does what I'm saying make sense?
Yes. I mean, it is why he has all the sponsorships, and he never says anything extreme in any direction, right? Like, I don't know how he feels about literally any topic other than Grant Thornton or Rocket Mortgage or Puma, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he feels about anything.
Which is why like the live stuff was kind of surprising. And also I think he got a little bit of a pass that I don't know that other guys would have gotten. Right. But the other thing I was thinking about was this, Rick, and that is, and I wrote a short thing on Twitter about this, but just when you lose something that you once had, which was being a top 5 player, top 10 player in the world, that can be embarrassing. It can be hard to like face your colleagues. You can have self-doubt. And the thing about Rickie is that there's no financial incentive for him to get it back. Like for so many of these guys, there's a financial incentive involved. The group where there's no financial incentive in terms of just like living day to day and a life of luxury is pretty small. It's not that many guys, and Rickie's definitely in it. And so I just think when you look at where he was at and how little incentive, at least financially, he had to get back to this position, I just commend somebody for grinding their face off to get back to that spot, right? Because what that tells me is I just care deeply about becoming better at the thing that I do for a living again. And I think that's very commendable in a world that, especially in the world that we're in, that seems to only care about money over the last year, 2 years, whatever. For Rickie to engage in that kind of work to get back to the top of the mountain is, I don't know, to me, it's admirable. And it's something that I'm sure will be talked about a lot over the next few days, but I just wanted to sort of get that out there while we're talking about it.
Yeah, friend of the pod, Rickie Fowler, gets the job done, wins his 6th PGA Tour win. Any final thoughts on Rickie? I think I'm sure we will talk more. There will be a lot more Ryder Cup conversation. I think we're on the same page there, and we kind of teased it earlier in the week and talked about the path that we think there's going. But anything else from this Fowler win before I get us to Colin Morikawa?
I don't think so. Producer Josh asked an interesting question here. Does Rory he's asking if Rory wins Hoylake, does that top this win in terms of popularity?
No. America. I think Rory. So I think Rory is now. Well, first of all, he's the most controversial he's ever been. Determining how controversial that is, but I believe that if Rory's approval rating was like 95% 3 years ago, I think it's like 71% now. But I think that the 71% that like him, love him more now. And now the new 29% hate him. There's no middle anymore.
Well, and this is sort of what I was getting at with the live thing is it's kind of funny to me that Rory has become controversial for defending an American institution. And Rickie, who said, I don't know, I might go to live, is even more beloved, right? And that's not, I'm not taking a shot at Rickie there by any means, but that's just a little bit amusing to me, right? I think you're right. I think the one thing about it is like a major championship is such a big deal. And this was like a tape delayed middle of the road PGA Tour event, which is obviously a big deal, but not as big of a deal as winning the Open.
Wikipedia doesn't care if it's on tape. It gets added to the record. Don't you worry about it.